Part of the fun of writing fiction is dreaming up whole new worlds, these interesting locations that we can then virtually visit through the process of writing the story. And also, on the other hand, a lot of the times we hear about characters that are one-dimensional or fully formed three-dimensional characters, and yet very often the locations and the places we dream up in fiction are one-dimensional. They can have a very interesting economy, or they can have a futuristic and fantastic element to them, and yet greatly lacking in personality, or greatly lacking in the full world effect that a real location would provide for us. So one way that we can improve this is to brainstorm and think of a location and think of it as a character, as a personality, and write a page or two on this. If this location were a person, what would their values be? What would their objectives be? What would their main moods be? What would they be sarcastic? Would they be depressed? Would they be upbeat? Would they be spastic? You know, what are in their values? What is really important to them? Are they conservative? Are they looking to the future? Do they adapt quickly, or are they dogmatic? Do they hold on to old philosophies? And this will not describe every single person in that community, but it will describe an overall feeling of that community. I think in the real world, if we visit a place for the first time, at first it takes a while for us to get to know the overall personality of that location. But because if you think about in the real world, you know, we talk about the divided nation, and you know, what we're talking about are these personality conflicts that take place between locations. And what is different about those locations? You know, in America, you know, throughout the country, we have cars, we have roads, we have factories, we have schools. You know, we have things that are basically the same, and yet look at the diversity. Look at how many different personality types the different locations have. Look at the difference in personality between New Orleans and New York. You know, even though on the surface they have buildings, they have trees, right under their commonalities is a world of difference in personality. And so, taking this into consideration, we can create locations, and even I'm a real fan of dreaming up fantastical new worlds, and you know, for fiction, it's really a chance to explore possibilities by dreaming up these worlds that could never be, and in doing that, we can also consider the richness of personality that we can bring to those locations. And that's exactly the kind of creative development that will draw your character in and give them a more convincing experience of this virtual reality you're trying to draw them into. This exercise I'm presenting to you, I'm not just saying write about a location as if it's a personality. Really dream up a character. Give that character, have that character walking with a cane. Have that character have a really long gray beard. You know, find distinct personality characteristics. Forget about it being a location. Describe it as a character, and that will inform the way you describe that town, you name it, moon base, whatever location you're dreaming up. And also there are locations where, you know, if you're describing a location where there might even be a civil war going on, where there could be these, you would think of them as divided personalities. You could then describe that location not as one person but as a group. You could describe three people that are in conflict and very different from each other, and yet living in a confined space where they have to find some way to get along and work together or not work together because they happen to be the same town or the same moon base. If you appreciate what I'm doing with these tutorials, please take the time to visit solomation.com, SOLOMATION.com, and you can watch some of my animation, check out some of my creative storytelling for free. And also hit the like button, subscribe. If you have ideas along this topic about describing a location as a personality, leave it in the comments. To get an idea about how much personality location can have, look around your neighborhood and look from house to house or building from building. Sure, they are all made of wood, tile, brick, mortar, but besides that, they are worlds apart from household to household. Each one has such a distinct personality that without a doubt it stands out from every other single house on that block. If in the real world you find places that don't seem to stand out, that don't seem incredibly distinct, well, there are people like that too. There are people that like to present themselves as being in the fold and normal. And so those people, it would take you a while to get to know them, to realize that they have a very distinct underlying personality. The same as with places. So when you think about a location, as the writer, you can mind read your way into the depths of that location. And on the surface, it could be normal suburban, town with seemingly with not, kind of as a rule, the longer a place is lived in, the more personality that develops in that location. So our goal as writers is to delve in and find the underlying layers that will inform the subtle differences in the way we describe those locations. I find it a lot easier to kind of forget that I'm writing about a location, because it can be difficult to try to put personality into bricks and concrete and trees. But if you just kind of forget that you're writing about a location and write about a personality, then you can, have their clothes be brags or a iron shirt, or you can have them walk slowly or always in a hurry. You could think of all the ways in human form that the personality, and after you've done that, it's a lot easier to just have it in mind while you're writing about the location, and that's when the good ideas start happening about how to bring personality into that location. An important part about location is what the quality of inhabitants for its people. So when you're doing the character sketch, consider how that character treats the other people. Is that character a harsh ruler, or is that character kindly and considerate? Is that character warm or cold? Takes place in a hospital, takes place in a post office, and then you're writing there. Well, it's worth it to consider, what is that hospital like? What is that school like? What is that post office like? If I can guarantee you that if you go to your nearest post office, in personality, it is very different from all the other post offices out there. It's incredibly distinct. And like, you know, you could have a post office the size of a shack out in a town that's under 200 population, where the postal worker sits there watching the TV all day, or you could have a post office with 200 people working inside of it. And I'm just scratching the surface. What I'm saying, personality-wise, it is not just a hospital. It is not just your local grocery store. What kind of personality does it have? How is it a very distinct place? Think about the places you know. You know that they have a very distinct feel, and that they have idiosyncrasies that you will probably never find anywhere else. And when you're done, set it aside, kind of forget about it, and the next time that you're writing fiction about that location as a brick and mortar location, let the magic happen. Pay attention to how your exercise has informed the subtle ways that you describe that location. Thank you for watching the video. I hope your writing goes well. Please hit the like button and subscribe, and have a good day.